I'm Tony Clevenger. I'm a wildlife research scientist. I live in Harvey Heights, Alberta. I work for the Western Transportation Institute at Montana State University. Conservation requires excellent communication skills, the ability to understand stakeholders and partners' concerns, and the ability to turn that into productive outcomes and effective solutions. And I think that exemplifies what Miistakis does, effortlessly and flawlessly.
My name is Lorne Fitch. I'm a professional biologist, a retired fish and wildlife biologist, a co-founder of Cows and Fish, and at times an adjunct professor with the University of Calgary. It's always struck me that science can tell us what's happening, but it can't make us do anything about it. And what we need, of course, are bridging mechanisms to take science or knowledge and apply that knowledge in ways that people can apply it to make better decisions and hopefully better land use decisions that will come from that. So I think that's the magic that is Miistakis, is the bridging mechanism of taking science to society.
My name is Justin Thompson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Southern Alberta Land Trust Society. And SALTS is a land trust that does private land conservation. And a lot of the areas that we work overlap with a number of the areas where Miistakis has been working. And so they've been enormously valuable to SALTS in helping to allow us to prioritize our work, but also put our work in the context of the broader landscape and of what's needed on the broader landscape from a conservation standpoint. One of the tools that Miistakis has helped us with is some of this conservation values mapping, where Miistakis can look at the landscape and help us to prioritize which areas are most important for a number of species, and then also tie those into this work that Miistakis has done on Highway 3 around what are the critical linkages. So identifying the priority areas from a habitat standpoint, and then making sure those connect to these critical linkages across highways.
Highway 3, just to give you some background information, has been identified as one of the key fracture zones in the Yellowstone to Yukon ecoregion, much like the Trans-Canada Highway in Banff National Park. But this highway hasn't been mitigated. It's a major transportation corridor. Traffic volumes are expanding and growing on that highway. It's an important connectivity area for grizzly bears, for wolverines, for lynx, and also a high incidence of deer vehicle collisions. Today, it looks like that highway, after many, many years of work that really was initiated by Miistakis, is going to be mitigated. In the next 5 years, we'll see mitigation on that highway. Miistakis should really be proud of this project, because this is a project that they initiated over 15 years ago. They've been there the entire time, and it's going to result in major ecological restoration across that highway.
It's Vanessa Carney. I'm the Landscape Analysis Supervisor with the Calgary Parks. We manage the natural environment parks across the city. One of the projects that Miistakis is currently working on with us is looking at how we prioritize wildlife movement corridors across the city, and then how we can actually take that and use it when we're considering development applications and retrofitting areas within the city's built environment to allow for wildlife movement in a better way and reduce collisions. Some of the tools that Miistakis is working with us on is to actually bring all of those considerations together, so helping us look at something from a much more holistic perspective. And that's something that we tend to get narrowed down into our own little areas, where biologists kind of work on the biological issue, and engineers work on the structural or engineering perspective of things. And one of the really great things about Miistakis is that they bring all of those elements together and aren't afraid to kind of weigh in and get us thinking about the broader perspective and how it impacts citizens at all levels.
I'm Jacqueline Nelson, and I'm part of the Foothills Land Trust. And we're standing right now in a riparian forest on the Highwood River. These riparian lands are important for water filtration, for wildlife. So there is a group within under the auspices of Foothills Land Trust. They're called the Spitzy Group, and they are doing just that with the help of Miistakis. on lands that had been bought out by the provincial government after the 2013 flood. The provincial government owns the lands right now, but they will go to the municipality soon, and at that time we hope to use conservation easements to conserve these lands. We're just a local group. We're all volunteers. We simply do not have that kind of capacity. So Miistakis can step in and help groups like us because they have that expertise to do that. So they came up with the research and the document that will enable us to do that.
The work that Miistakis has done with many municipalities to help them with a variety of conservation tools to enable the ratepayers in those municipalities to understand what's in the realm of the possible for them for things like conservation easements, as an example. And then there's the work that Miistakis has done with the Alberta beef producers to create a better foundation of understanding about compensation programs for predator losses and the implications of that to individual ranchers, and to create a more equitable system of compensation so that we can maintain not only ranching but maintain predators on the landscape. And then I think lastly, although this is a short list of the many accomplishments of the Miistakis Institute, the collaborative work that Miistakis and the Cows and Fish have been doing on beavers to help communities understand the role of beavers and the unique opportunity that beavers provide to help us deal with the double whammy of climate change, floods, and drought by creating an amount of information that people start to understand about beavers and their virtues, how we can deal with some of the issues that they bring, and to create an opportunity for beavers to exist and perhaps spread on the landscape.
We always kind of joke that they're sort of the launching point for students' careers when thinking big about an issue. They've had a number of students and staff members go through their office that have gone on to really neat projects, and they always sort of broaden our horizons. We sort of call them a bit of a lean, mean organization. They're incredibly efficient at sort of researching an issue, coming up with a range of really creative options and perspectives for us to think about, and that's something that's fairly unique to them.
Often when you come into a room, you've got a bunch of people and they do have their own agendas. You've got people there from government, you've got people there from conservation organizations, and I've actually seen Miistakis be able to sort of act as the honest broker, because people don't view Miistakis as having a particular agenda. You know, they're there to provide good information and to facilitate, and that's hugely valuable.
I see Miistakis is awesome. Yeah, no, they're. I enjoy working with them. I love working with them. It's a good relationship. It's probably better than most marriages. But it's really fun. I mean, it's been fantastic to work with them.
The only problem I see is it's hard to spell.